Shock Tactics is the most infuriating game I've played all year. And believe me, that in itself is a feat. Now, if you played any game like XCOM, then you're going to feel right at home with this one. It's a turn-based tactics game. And when I say if you played XCOM, you're going to feel right at home, I mean, it directly lifts a lot of mechanics from XCOM and XCOM 2. And that in itself is fine. I don't really have a problem with that, but the only things that this game gets right are the things that it takes directly from XCOM. Everything else that the developers of this game tried to put in to differentiate it fails drastically, and it's honestly kind of baffling some of the design decisions in this game. This might be my least favorite game of the entire year so far. Not because it's necessarily the worst game or the most broken, because I play a lot of really broken games on this channel, of course, asset flips and games that were designed specifically for trading cards and the like. But this one is completely infuriating. Now, I'm going to do my best to explain why, and as it happens on your screen here, because I'm recording this after the fact, you're going to see why. So, in this game, you go into these different levels, like you do in XCOM, and you have different objectives and stuff that you have to go do. And, like in XCOM, it's kind of like an open world map, so you can kind of get to an objective the way you see fit. But the problem is, I don't know if they use like a procedural generation or anything like that, but the level design in this game is the worst thing ever. And you're seeing that right now. So when I loaded into this level, I originally wanted to go over to the left and go straight towards the objective, because the objective was to go and save those recruits. Evidently, they didn't need saving, so that's another thing. And then I realized that there was a giant cliff, and the only way I could get there was by going in the opposite direction and taking the long way around the entire map. I thought, okay, whatever, that's kind of annoying. So then I did that, and I ended up trying to go down below through the bottom of this, like, raised platform area that you're seeing right now. And you're gonna see in a second, you just saw some of it. The AI in this game is terrible, by the way, and you're gonna see that right here and throughout the entire video. I could not move my characters through the bottom area of this platform. Like, it was actually nearly impossible to get my camera to actually go underneath it. No matter what I did, I rotated it, I swiveled the camera, changed the angle of it. I did absolutely everything I could possibly conceive of doing to try to get my characters to move underneath it. And it was futile. So I ended up just taking my characters around the side. And you're going to see right here, I was trying to get down into that bottom little area right there, but your characters can't jump down into it. It's like a, I don't know, 7-foot drop, and your character's like, nope, can't do that. That's way too hard for us. So I tried to go around there, and then I realized that I had to go up the steps. And you're seeing right here is where the AI starts to falter. So that guy is going to be running back and forth in that cover throughout this entire video. He's not going to fire at the things he's supposed to be firing at all, which is good for me, because that means I can get to the objective way quicker. But he started out at the start of the level, because this is like maybe 3 minutes in, he was shooting at them, but then he just decided not to. And my allies are shooting at him. I don't think they ever hit him, or if they do, it's like very sparingly. But only one of the allies shoots, even though the rest of them all have guns. So that's a nice thing. So he's just gonna run around like a gopher, like you're seeing right now, in between the cover, not doing anything. Okay, so now I've discovered that I can only get to my objective by going up these stairs. This is a problem in the game as well, because I've got a sniper on me right now. This guy is going to take a shot at me, and there's nothing I can do about it. Like, there's literally nothing, because while he has incredibly long range, I can't see him or shoot at him at all, and there's no cover and no way to evade him. And you're going to see right there, because there was no way to evade it, with the RNG mechanic in this game that's like XCOM, like you have a certain percentage of a chance to hit something, he just instantly killed my soldier, and there was absolutely nothing I could do about it. Now, you might be thinking, okay, bad luck, just reload the save. No, this game is completely in Iron Man mode all the time, and you're not allowed to reload saves. It'll auto-save when you start a mission, and if you fail it, well, too bad. Now, Iron Man modes are fine, but if your game relies so heavily on RNG like that, then at least give some power to the player to mitigate that if stupid things happen. Something that I've noticed in this game is a lot of the levels and a lot of the missions, the cover is so sparse that you have no choice, and you saw it earlier. There's the gopher guy running around back and forth again, doing absolutely nothing. The level design is so sparse that when I was going up those stairs like you just saw, there was no place for me to take cover, so if there were enemies there, then I would just be killed instantly. And that's happened to me on other levels, by the way. It is a thing that happened. By the way, now I'm going down into that gully part that I couldn't get into earlier. Like, where I was and tried to go down earlier in the video, I could have gotten there by going down there and, like, going up to where I am now. But, no, I had to go all the way up the stairs and trigger that sniper that I couldn't properly fight. And you can see right here that I'm trying to go through this level now with my remaining characters, and I keep running into new enemies all of a sudden that just appear. Like, how many enemies do you think are in this little area that you're seeing right now? Just, like, have a guess in your mind, and then keep track throughout the video. Now, something that XCOM does, like the XCOM series, is when you run into enemies, you run into packs of them. See, there's an enemy right there. I had no idea, and I've just, like, basically killed my soldier. Or I put him in a terrible position. There's another one that popped up out of nowhere. You'd think that I probably would have been able to see them. And in XCOM, I would have. And I'm going to compare this game to XCOM because the developer specifically says that this game is inspired by XCOM. In XCOM, when you run into enemies, you run into a pack of them. They all get triggered, and you see immediately how many enemies are there so that you can reliably fight against them, and you don't end up in a situation that's really grossly overpowered for the AI side, because I have no idea what the hell I'm doing. Right here, by the way, I'm trying to use an ability called Hail of Bullets, and I figured out that I couldn't hit anyone with it, so I tried to cancel it, and I couldn't figure out how to cancel it, so I tried clicking the same button to start it, and instead I just ended up using the ability and firing in some random-ass direction, so that's super fun. I love that. So I ended up doing that, and I tried it again, and I realized you have to right-click to cancel it, so that's a thing. And that's fair, but there's no indication of how to do that when you've already activated the ability, so I love that. And because this game doesn't trigger enemies in packs, you have no reliable way of knowing exactly what you're up against. And while that might be, I don't know, you could argue it's more realistic, it's not fun in a video game because it feels like everything you're doing is super cheap. And now you're going to see right here is the moment that I discovered that the only way to really fight in this game is to put people into Overwatch, and Overwatch is literally the same thing as XCOM, where if an enemy moves when you have it activated on their turn, then you get a shot at them. Well, the thing with this game is that your hit percentages are so low whenever anyone's in cover at all, that there is next to no point in even trying to shoot at them. So you might as well just put everyone on Overwatch because the AI is so freaking stupid that it'll just try to run away no matter what. In XCOM, they do at least attempt to not move if they can, if your characters are in Overwatch. Like, that is a thing in the AI. This game doesn't have any of that. And the AI will just randomly try to run around in different directions no matter what. And you're seeing it right here, like, a 40% chance to hit with every bullet is way better than trying to take a 12% chance to hit with my bullets on my turn, obviously. So it makes the entire game get super slow, get super plotty, and it makes it not engaging to play, because you're literally just setting up your guys to kill the enemy on their turn. There's no tactics involved, you just put them on Overwatch and hope the enemy moves, which they do 90% of the time. But even then, as you're going to see in this video, it hardly works. And see, if I want to attack on my turn, that's what I have to do. I have to be, like, flanking the enemies, which as a sniper is a terrible idea. And you're going to see why that's a terrible idea right now. There's another sniper right there that I had no idea even existed. So that's another thing. I gotta love that. And now my character here, yeah, he just instantly dies because the guy can move over there and instantly kill me like that. So that's super fun. This guy's still doing absolutely nothing. He's just running back and forth. I mean, he's probably ran like a half marathon, so I guess that's super awesome. And I'm down to one more character here. He's got like barely any health left. I've got a sniper looking at me too, so I can't move out of cover at all. I don't want to. Anytime I do move, instead of trying to actively kill anything, I just start putting my character on Overwatch because what's the point in doing anything else? This game tries to do everything that XCOM did, but anything that it does on its own is terrible. And I haven't even mentioned the voice acting in this game, which is some of the worst voice acting I have ever heard.
Now is the time to close the building menu and explore the world map. The ATV allows you to...
We needed a place to store all the weapons, so we built one, and I made it a thing for hanging the guns up like trophies, and put some spotlight.
As in the tactical mode, the world map has turns. Every turn is a day and time is valuable. The red countdown on the top screen indicates the days left until the Grand Fleet of the IC arrives.
Never mind, we were happy to have it, especially me.
Excavation sites
Cap's team found another anomaly, and it was of high interest for them to set up a permanent outpost around it.
In a video game. I don't know if the developers voiced it themselves. I don't know if they got, like, their aunt to do it or something. But it is absolutely atrocious. I can hardly even listen to it because there seems like there was no direction given to it. There seems like the voice actors possibly don't even speak English as their native language, so it sounds super off-putting and weird. Like they put odd emphasis on certain words. I was watching Sid Alpha's video. He brought attention to this as well. The guy pronounces ATV like the ATV. The ATV. And other crazy stuff like that that doesn't make any sense to anyone, no matter what language it's in. And this entire game feels like it was developed by someone who really liked XCOM, but didn't know how to make a video game. So what they tried to do was take as much from XCOM as they could, but then they didn't know how to make an actual game themselves, so they just thought, oh, this is a good idea. In one of the first missions, there is an objective that if any character in your party dies, then you have to restart the entire level. Now, one of my characters died from a 7% chance to hit from an enemy player. Instantly. An enemy teammate. I don't know. Enemy teammate doesn't make any sense. There's a texture glitching out in the top corner there. That's super fun. When you have a game that's so based on RNG like that, you can't have objectives like that. Because if your character dies on a 7% chance to hit, it's incredibly infuriating for anyone to play. Because it feels like the game is cheating you, it feels like bullshit, and it's not good game design in the slightest. By the way, I do die on this level, so that's a thing that's coming up too. I should mention the overworld map as well. That's something that the game tries to do differently than XCOM. Basically, it's like a tile grid overworld, and you have like a certain amount of days to do objectives and stuff like that. There's a base building mechanic as well, so you get resources to upgrade your base. You get new characters and stuff. By the way, your teammates don't say anything, so that's a thing that happens in this game as well. Your teammates are totally silent, except when they get hit. Anytime anyone gets hit in this game, they let out a sound that kind of sounds like they're barking like a dog, instead of anything that a human would say. This is where I figured out that hail of bullets, which is from XCOM, by the way, like directly from it, is canceled with the right mouse button. So that was progress on my part. Unfortunately, my guy had 2 health, so that doesn't really help anything. This is one of the most bafflingly designed games I have ever played. It feels like, honestly feels like the developer didn't know how to make a tactics game, and the only things they did get right were things that they took from other games. Like, that loading screen you saw, the loading text wasn't even centered. It's not even centered on the screen. It's absolutely baffling. The version number at the start of the game, by the way, they spelled number wrong. So that's something that exists as well. Shock tactics actually made me angry. And that's very difficult to do. Normally, I can laugh things off. I had to actually physically calm down afterwards because there was so much RNG going on, baffling design decisions, atrocious voice acting, and honestly, things I couldn't comprehend in a video game. I don't know what else to say. I am PattyJack, and I'll see you next time.